All right, so we have the pec muscle. First and foremost, the pecs are made up of the pec major, which is that big one, and then we have like the pec minor right here. The one we generally are more concerned with, especially in hypertrophy context, is the pec major. As the pec minor is going to be more focused on kind of like a anterior tilt of the shoulder girdle, along with protraction of the scapula. But back to the pec major. So similar to the lats on the rear side of the body, pecs have this very wide origin point. So once again, similar to the lats, it allows the pecs to function through a pretty large range of motion where a lot of motions activate different portions of the pectoral fibers to some degree. But similar to the lats, one of the biggest things we notice right off the bat is it's situated to be a very powerful adductor. So any motion where we're bringing the arm up from an overhead position and sweeping it back down through the body, and you kind of have like this, 30-degree angle or so, where you're kind of sweeping the arm back down and then kind of out to the front a little bit. It's kind of the action of the pectoral muscles. Generally, as you continue sweeping the arm up across the body, so you kind of start working, as you kind of get from here, and then you sweep the arm down, you start working kind of more the lower chest. As you come more up this way, as you continue sweeping the arm against load, you kind of start getting into more emphasis on the middle pec fibers, and then as you sweep the arm back up this way, kind of pointing up across the body, you kind of get more activation of these upper pec fibers. So depending on how you structure, say, like a chest fly or something, or the angle of force, you're going to activate different portions of the pec to varying degrees. In general, if you're trying to train as much of the chest fibers as possible through any movement, you're looking at kind of like an abduction combined with shoulder flexion type exercise. So you're going to see that a lot, especially with dips. Dips are a very great exercise for developing the chest, along with cable chest flies, where you kind of go from like a high to a low position. When you get into kind of like horizontal chest flies or even train the upper chest, you generally start emphasizing these upper parts, which are relatively smaller portions of the chest. But if this portion just isn't growing very well, those can be decently effective ways of training it. Other exercises that will train the chest, most people think of like the bench press or the push-ups, and those are pretty good just based on the angle of force for training kind of like the whole thing as well, particularly like kind of like the medial and upper portions. So keep that in mind with pec training. Additionally, too, we also see, like, if we kind of look at where the pecs kind of insert onto the humerus, it is an internal rotator of the shoulder as well. So when we look into some of the more integrated movements we do later on, where we'll combine some of the pull-through exercises, we'll see those are very good chest exercises as well, because it allows us to basically start the arm up here. We kind of pull the arm in, internally rotate, and then we press it across the body. And those are also very good options for training the pec fibers and combining with some rotation and some mobility work.